Welcome to Rhema Words of Faith, Daily Bread Devotionals. Today we're diving into an incredible passage from Matthew 5:14-16, which says, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." That's a powerful statement. But what does that really mean? What does it look like to shine for God in our everyday lives? This devotional will break down this passage, encourage you to let your light shine boldly, and remind you why the world needs to see Christ in you. Jesus says, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden." What a vivid picture. Imagine a city built high on a hill. At night, its lights glow brightly, visible from miles away. That's how God wants us to be. He wants His people to stand out, not in a boastful or prideful way, but as beacons of hope, truth, and love. If you've ever walked into a dark room and turned on a light, you know that darkness disappears instantly. That's what happens when you walk into a situation filled with negativity, hopelessness, or fear. As a follower of Christ, you bring His presence into that place, and His light shines through you. Jesus continues, "Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house." Imagine lighting a lamp only to cover it up so no one can see it. That makes no sense. But how often do we do this in our faith? How often do we keep silent when we should speak up? How often do we hold back from sharing God's love out of fear of judgment? Jesus is calling us to boldly display our faith, not to be ashamed, not to shrink back, but to let His light shine through us for all to see. This isn't about forcing our faith on others. It's about living in a way that naturally reflects Jesus. Have you ever met someone who radiates kindness, joy, and peace? They don't have to tell you they love Jesus. You can see it in how they treat others. That's what shining your light looks like. It's choosing to show kindness instead of anger, patience instead of frustration, forgiveness instead of bitterness. It's choosing to love even when it's hard. When we live this way, people take notice. They see something different in us, and that difference is Christ in us. Jesus finishes this passage by saying, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." The purpose of our light isn't to bring attention to ourselves, but to point people back to God. When people see the way you love, serve, and walk in faith, it should make them wonder, what is different about them? And when they ask, you have the opportunity to share the truth. It's not about us, it's about Jesus. Every act of kindness, every word of encouragement, every moment of grace we show someone else becomes a reflection of God's love. The world desperately needs light. Will you shine yours? When Jesus said, "You are the light of the world," He wasn't just talking to pastors, missionaries, or spiritual leaders. He was speaking to everyone who follows Him. That means you. Sometimes we might think, "I'm not qualified," or "I don't have a big platform." But you don't need a stage to shine for Jesus. You shine right where you are, in your family, at work, at school, in your neighborhood. Your light doesn't have to be flashy. It just has to be real. It's in the small, everyday moments, choosing to be patient with a difficult coworker, encouraging a friend who is struggling, or standing firm in your faith when others compromise. Every act of obedience to Christ is a beam of light in a dark world. Sometimes shining our light isn't easy. We live in a world that often rejects God's truth. There's pressure to blend in, to keep quiet about our faith, to avoid standing out. But Jesus tells us that we are not meant to be hidden. When we let fear or doubt dim our light, we miss opportunities to impact those around us. The enemy wants you to believe that your light doesn't matter, but that's a lie. Even a small candle can light up an entire room. Your kindness, your prayers, your words of encouragement, they make a bigger difference than you realize. Think about the moon. It has no light of its own, yet it shines so brightly in the night sky. How? By reflecting the light of the sun. That's exactly what we are called to do. On our own, we have no power to shine, but when we stay close to Jesus, we reflect His glory, His love, and His truth to the world. The key is staying connected to Him. If we drift away from God, our light grows dim. But when we walk with Him daily, through prayer, reading His Word, and living out our faith, His light shines through us effortlessly. One of the most powerful ways to shine your light is through love. Jesus said in John 13, verse 35, "By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another." Love is what sets us apart. It's not just about being nice. It's about showing the kind of love Jesus did, sacrificial, unconditional, and full of grace. When you forgive someone who wronged you, you shine God's light. When you help someone in need, you shine God's light. When you refuse to gossip, to judge, to retaliate, you shine God's light. People may forget your words, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Finally, remember that light always overcomes darkness. No matter how dark the world may seem, the light of Christ is greater. Sometimes it feels like evil is winning, but it's not. Darkness has no power over light. When light appears, darkness must flee. That's why you must never let discouragement keep you from shining. Your faithfulness in living for Christ matters. You may not always see the impact you're making, but God does. He is using you, and He promises that your light will never be in vain. Jesus continues in verse 15 by saying, "Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house." Imagine lighting a lamp and immediately covering it up. What would be the point? It wouldn't serve its purpose. Yet, so often, we do this with our faith. We let fear, insecurity, or the desire for approval keep us silent. We hesitate to share our testimony because we worry about what people will think. But Jesus makes it clear, your light was never meant to be hidden. God placed you exactly where you are for a reason. Your workplace, your school, your family, these are your mission fields. You don't need a microphone or a pulpit to make an impact. You just need to let your light shine through the way you live. Some people believe that only pastors or missionaries are called to shine for Jesus, but that's not true. Every believer is a light bearer. You may be the only reflection of Christ that some people ever see. Think about that. Your kindness, your integrity, and your unwavering faith could be the very thing that draws someone to Jesus. Maybe a co-worker notices how you handle stress with peace. Maybe a family member sees your patience and wonders where it comes from. These moments matter. Your life is a living testimony, and God is using you even when you don't realize it. Jesus ends this passage by saying, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." This is key. Our goal is not to bring glory to ourselves, but to point people to God. It's not about making a name for ourselves. It's about making His name known. When we serve, love, and live for Christ, people take notice. Some will be drawn to the light. Others may reject it. But our job is not to control the outcome. Our job is to be faithful in shining. God will handle the rest. One of the best ways to shine your light is through acts of service. Look for opportunities to bless others. Maybe it's buying groceries for a struggling family, visiting someone in the hospital, or simply listening to a friend who needs encouragement. When we serve, we reflect the heart of Jesus. And when people see that, they see God's love in action. Remember, people may not always remember the words you say, but they will always remember how you made them feel. Your actions, big or small, can be the spark that leads someone closer to Christ. As we close today's devotional, I want to encourage you. Don't let fear hold you back. You were created to shine, and the world needs the light that only you can bring. If this message has blessed you today, I invite you to take a step further. Like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to our channel for more devotionals like this. Let's continue growing together in faith. And remember, your light makes a difference. Keep shining for Jesus.